Sweaty record review, David Guetta, 7. So I should probably start by talking about what I don't know about David Guetta, which is a lot. I recognize him as being one of these super producers of electronic dance music. I know that he made what is probably my top 5 least favorite songs of all time, I Got a Feelin' by the Black Eyed Peas. Someday maybe I'll do a countdown of the worst songs of all time. Spoiler, the top spot is held by Eric Clapton. But I don't know that much about him. I do teach a class on French rock and hip hop, and he is French. So part of me is interested in him in that way. A lot of people don't know his first track was actually a song that he did with a hip hop producer named Sydney. He was actually a TV personality. Sydney did the first ever TV show in the world about hip hop called HIP HOP. It's on YouTube. You should check it out. It's amazing. I mean, he teaches people how to break dance, how to rap. It's part of why French rap is so good. And that was David Guetta's introduction to the world. He was on a song called Nation Rap, which is not a very good song. So that's about it. That's all I knew about David Guetta going into this double album. So I'm sitting there, and I'm there at the gym, and I'm like, double album. So I just say, I'll just start with the second one, just because, I don't know, why not? You know, I might not get to it. Maybe most people are going to review just the first record. And it was great. I was shocked. It just starts off, and it's this very simple house music. It's just, I don't know, You Gotta Feel Me, or You Gotta Touch Me is the first track. I don't even remember what it's called. But it's just this great, simple house music, you know, pretty standard beats, well textured, well layered, the voices coming out, and then track 2 comes, and that's a song, I wrote down that one. That one's called Freedom. And that's weird because it becomes kind of meta. You have this woman who is very clearly the kind of singer who sings on house music. And if you don't know that much about house music, very frequently it'll have a very loud black female voice just sort of singing something, you know? Usually it's about love or about feeling. In this case, it's about freedom. But it begins with her talking about what is house music. So it made me realize this is actually maybe a record about house music. I started to think that because the first track was just exemplary house. And this is a super mega billionaire, you know, he goes to a club and gets paid $1 million just to be there kind of guy. So I wondered, is this his attempt to get back to something? And I wouldn't even really know because I don't know David Guetta. But this is a great track. It's fun. It's interesting to hear this woman singing, and then she talks, and then she breaks into the chorus about freedom, and the music goes really well. It's a really good sign that while I was working out, my phone fell out of my pocket during that song, and I got really upset. Like, I had to so that's a good sign. The rest of the second album was going along like this. There's a sort of anti-technology, computery voice thing called Grenade. Now, when I do these reviews, I don't research, right? So the one thing I do is I use Tidal, the music service, and I look at the credits. And I'm going to get to the credits in a second. It's a whole nother question. But everything on this second record was by someone named Jack Back. And so I thought, oh man, I guess this must be that he found some younger producer who's hungry, who's good, and that's the story. That's why this is good. But he was all over the place. So I just looked up Jack Back on the internet, and it turns out, according to Billboard, that it's actually David Guetta, and that's his alter ego for his real music. So everything fell into line. I'm like, okay, this second record must just be him trying to reconnect to his roots. Almost like, you know, Paul McCartney or something, like some kind of, you know, old guy being like, I can still do the thing that I started doing when I was younger. And so it all kind of fell into place. And the rest of that second record is just like that. It's just awesome. I mean, songs like Think, 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 fairly like simple polyrhythms and upbeat, and you got some song like phasers and kind of that crunchy sound you might associate with something kind of Daft Punky. Songs like Pelican are sort of downbeat. It ends up just being a really enjoyable house record, and I think I'm going to listen to that over and over again. So then I go, okay, good. I'm going to move on to the first album. Oh my God. It's just a pop record. It's everything I thought David Guetta was. It's just pop on top of pop. Every song is so produced. There's one song I think it's called, yeah, She Knows How to Love Me. I'm looking at my notes here. I typed them up on my phone and then I print them out. Real official. It's like the most overproduced record I've ever heard. I mean, it's just like, it's got a sample and it's got singing and it's got breaks. It's just a mess. So most of this first album, I would say, is kind of like that. It's just very overproduced pop music. It started very promising. The song "Don't You Ever Leave Me" may actually be my favorite track on both records. It's a pop song, but it's excellent. It's got that sort of dubstep break, a couple minutes in, which I'm a sucker for. Lots of, again, vocal effects and phasers. The lead singer, she's just some random singer, Anne Marie, I guess. She has a sort of cutting voice, like the kind of singing voice that has kind of an edge to it. It's not as generic as it was. And I wrote down, goddamn awesome pop music after hearing that first track. I thought, this second album, this whole thing is going to be great. But then the second track on the first album is kind of a snoozer. Interesting use of an actual 80s drum machine. You could tell it was not recreated, but A song with Sia. I don't really know Sia. I don't know much about her. This whole second record is like a who's who of who's that. Like people I've heard of but don't really know. Another song, I want to at some point make a compilation of songs about toxic love relationships with electronic dance music. What's it called? Blame It on Love, and it's all about, we F and we fight. It's okay. And then another weird thing happens halfway through this first record. Boy, I'm saying record, album, I'm throwing them all around. The first disc, we'll call it the first disc to throw out another abandoned media, is all of this Spanish music starts coming in. And by that I mean these Spanish rhythms that are so popular on the radio right now. And this is where it's really clear that David Guetta is just kind of just a pop monster to a certain degree. What does it have to do with him? He's just some French guy, And interestingly, in this song, in one of the songs with Nicki Minaj, there's the Spanish singer, and the only French on either album is a Spanish singer saying "Parlez-vous français, si, si, si," and "oui, oui, oui." Why is this in here? Why? There's no artistic authenticity to this. He just knows that putting in a Spanish singer, putting in Spanish rhythms will get him played. So it kind of goes like sort of almost like through just a general pop car wash of different things that he knows will get played. Like a kind of grimy hip hop song called "I'm That B Word." There's a track with Justin Bieber, but the record company wouldn't put it on Tidal. So I don't know. Is it any good? I don't care. I couldn't hear it. A really nice rap song produced with Steve Aoki, another who's who of who's that. Very kind of greasy, heavy beat. So it's not all a loss, this first record. It's just sort of a sign that this is another one of these split personality albums where you have this mega producer who knows he can make billions and billions of dollars, millions and millions of dollars as a pop producer, and then at the end he has to release the whole thing of him, his real self, his real authentic. Ooh, combination between authentic and artistic. Okay, that's a Skye Sweaty record, copyright. He's trying to show his authenticity. Oh crap, that doesn't work. Anyways, he's trying to show that authentic nature of his music with the second half, and it totally works. And I think there probably is a great artist inside there. My final note will be, I have no idea who does what on this record. If you look at the credits, okay, these are all of the different people who are credited. Composer, writer, producer, main writer, interprète, so interpreter, programming, and all instruments. These are 7 different titles, which to me could all mean that someone is doing the majority of the work. I don't know who's doing what. I can't tell when David Guetta is writing anything, but maybe I'm too tied up with the idea of the artist alone, and modern production is all confusing. But it's amazing when you have a writer, producer, composer all on the same credits. I don't know. Maybe it's a money thing. This ended up being 10 minutes long, but that's okay because this was a double record. So David Guetta by 7. I would say my pithy one-word thing that I'll use in the title is, I would say it is a great house record with a spotty pop album attached.